Imagine, just for a moment, that breathing was a reward. Imagine if you told yourself, I will only allow myself to take a breath if I get that promotion. I will only allow my lungs to fill with air if I meet the perfect partner. I will only breathe when I am finally happy. If our survival instinct worked the same way our modern mindset works, we would all be dead in minutes. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Because breathing is essential. Breathing is life. You breathe because you are. Yet, look at how we treat our happiness. Most of us treat joy as a conditional reward. We treat happiness like a trophy we only deserve to hold after we've won a grueling race. We starve ourselves of joy, holding our breath, waiting for a grand reason to finally exhale and smile. But what if I told you that you've been doing it wrong? What if the secret to a life of fulfillment isn't about reaching the destination faster, but about understanding a simple, quiet law of nature that we've all forgotten? Today, we are going to stop rushing. We are going to talk about the art of self-joy, happiness without a reason, and the true, painful wisdom of slow living. Yesterday, I was sitting in silence, just watching the dust settle in a ray of sunlight, and I realized something terrifying about the human condition. We have become experts at unconscious living. We breathe, but we don't feel the air. We walk, but we don't feel the ground. We eat, but we don't taste the food. We are constantly living in the future. We are living in the when-then trap. When I make $1 million, then I will be relaxed. When I lose 10 pounds, then I will love my body. When it's the weekend, then I will enjoy my life. Think about the weight of that. If you are only happy on weekends, you are effectively throwing away 71% of your life. You are deciding that 5 days out of 7 are just filler episodes that you have to endure. If you are only happy when you are perfectly healthy, what happens when you catch a flu? Does your life lose all value for those 5 days? If joy requires a reason, then sadness becomes the default state of existence, and that is a heavy burden to carry. So, what is the alternative? I call it self-joy, or joy without reason. It is the ability to be happy simply because you exist. Look at nature. Look at a wild daisy growing by the side of a cracked concrete road. It doesn't wait for a hiker to walk by and say, "Oh, what a beautiful flower," before it decides to bloom. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need a reason. It blooms because that is its nature. It blooms because it is alive. We need to reclaim that primal state. Wake up tomorrow morning and make a conscious choice. Today, I choose to orient myself toward joy. Not because something good happened, but because I am happening. It starts with the micro moments. You step outside. The air is freezing. The old version of you, the conditional version, would say, "Ugh, it's cold. I hate winter. This day sucks." But the self-joy version of you flips the script. You feel the cold sting your cheeks and you think, "I can feel this. I am alive enough to feel temperature." You see a colleague at work, the one who is usually grumpy, and today they crack a small smile. You don't need to say anything. You just feel a quiet spark of happiness for them. That is self-joy. It's watching a pigeon swoop down in the park to eat a crumb. It's seeing an old tree standing firm against the wind. These things aren't Instagrammable. You can't put them on a resume. They won't make you rich, but they will save your soul. In a world facing a mental health epidemic, where anxiety is the baseline, choosing to be happy without a reason is the most rebellious, medicinal thing you can do. Now, I know what the skeptics are thinking. This sounds like toxic positivity. You can't just ignore reality. I hear you. I used to be that person. I used to judge people who were too happy. I thought they were naive. I thought gratitude was just a cliché buzzword for people who didn't understand how hard life is. But I was wrong. I once knew someone who said, I am just grateful to wake up today. I rolled my eyes internally. I thought it was just a line from a self-help book. Later, I found out that person had survived a near-death illness. They had fought for every single breath. When they said they were grateful to wake up, they meant it with every cell in their body. So, let's not judge how others find their peace. If you see someone happy, be happy for them. If you can't be happy yet, just store this concept of self-joy like a seed in your pocket. Maybe today isn't the day you plant it, but keep it. You might need it later. Now, let's drift from the concept of joy to the concept of time, because you cannot have joy if you are constantly rushing. This brings us to our main topic, slow living. When I say slow living, what pops into your head? Probably a cottage in the woods, reading a book by a fireplace, drinking herbal tea, quitting your corporate job to make pottery. That is the aesthetic of slow living. It's beautiful, but for most of us, it's a fantasy. I want to talk about a different kind of slow living, a practical wisdom that you can apply right now, in the middle of a busy city, in the middle of a chaotic career. Do you agree with me on this one truth? Good things take time. It's a cliche because it's true. You cannot go to the gym for one day and wake up with the body of an athlete. You cannot study a language for 1 week and write poetry in it. You cannot meet someone today and build a deep, soulful marriage by tomorrow. Even a tree, from the moment the seed hits the dirt to the moment you taste its fruit, requires a season. It requires a process. So why, my friends, do we try to cheat this law when it comes to our own lives? Why do we demand instant success? Why do we quit after 3 weeks? We are suffering from a disease of timeline anxiety. I have a friend. Let's call him Mark. Mark is talented. He wanted to become a professional writer. He started a blog. He wrote furiously every day, pouring his heart out. 3 months later, he came to me defeated. "I'm quitting," he said. "Nobody is reading it. It's not working." I asked him a simple question. "Mark, in the grand scheme of a career, is 3 months a long time or a short time?" He went silent. He knew the answer logically. 3 months is nothing. 3 months is a blink of an eye. But emotionally, it felt like an eternity. His brain knew it was fast, but his heart felt it was too slow. And this is where we fail. We quit not because we lack talent, but because we lack the wisdom of slow living. If you want to master slow living, you need to understand 2 mathematical concepts. Stick with me. This will change how you view your goals. The necessary condition and the sufficient condition. To succeed at anything, whether it's learning the guitar, building a business, or finding peace, you need both. 1. The necessary condition, time. You must stay in the game long enough. You must respect the natural gestation period of the goal. If a baby takes 9 months to grow, you cannot rush it to 4 months by working harder. Nature has a minimum time requirement. You cannot negotiate with it. 2. The sufficient condition, effort. During that time, you must apply the right method. You must show up. You must do the work. Most of us fail because we only have one. Some people have the sufficient condition. They work hard, but they lack the necessary condition, patience. They're like Mark. They sprint, they grind, but they quit before the clock runs out. They walk away 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Other people have the necessary condition, time, but lack the sufficient condition, effort. They wait. They say, "I'm living slowly," but really, they are just procrastinating. They spend 10 years wanting to write a book, but never actually write a page. That isn't slow living. That's laziness disguised as patience. True slow living is the marriage of the 2. It is saying, "I will commit to this path for 1 year, necessary. And during this year, I will practice every single day, sufficient. I will not judge my results in week 3. I will not quit in month 5. I will respect the process." To really let this sink in, I want to play a game. I want you to swap roles. Imagine you are the master, You are the expert. Let's say you are a piano master or a marketing guru. One morning, a student knocks on your door. He is frantic, he is sweating. He says, "Master, please, make me an expert in 1 week. I need to be a virtuoso by next Friday." How would you react? You would probably laugh, or you would look at him with pity. You would think, this person is delusional. They don't respect the craft. Now, imagine another student. You give him a roadmap. You tell him, this will take 1 year of hard work. He agrees, but 3 weeks later, he comes back, angry. "Master, why am I not famous yet? Why is this taking so long? I'm bored. This isn't working." How do you feel now? Annoyed? Frustrated? Maybe your blood boils a little? You feel insulted because this student is disrespecting the laws of reality. They are acting like a spoiled child. Ladies and gentlemen, look in the mirror, because often we are that annoying student. Life is the teacher. The universe is the master, and we are constantly banging on the door of the universe, screaming, "Give it to me now! Why am I not rich yet? Why am I not happy yet?" We are the ones being ridiculous. We start a business and demand profit in month 1. We go on 2 dates and demand true love instantly. And when life doesn't deliver on our impossible timeline, we throw a tantrum and quit. We need to stop being the impatient student. We need to humble ourselves before the timeline of nature. Look into your own closet. Look at your own history. The guitar gathering dust in the corner? You quit because you violated the necessary condition. You didn't give it time. The running shoes you only wore twice? You violated the sufficient condition. You didn't put in the effort. The business plan you abandoned? Maybe you tried to sprint a marathon. So, my dear friends, as we wrap up today's journey, my wish for you is simple. Slow down. And I don't mean walk slower. I mean expect slower. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. Give your dreams the dignity of time. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it has roots. You water it, and you trust. Trust your own life. And while you are waiting for the big things to grow, remember to breathe. Remember self-joy. Find happiness in the cold air, in the hot coffee, in the smile of a stranger. Be happy without a reason. Because if you need a reason to be happy, you will always be waiting. But if you can find joy just in the act of being alive, then you have already won. Thank you for letting me share this space with you. If this message touched something in you today, share it with someone who is rushing through life. I'm Channel Name. And remember, life is not a race, it's a stroll. See you in the next episode.